안녕하세요. Riding on the Korean wave. Welcome to a brand new week on The Culture Wave. I'm Kwon So-ah in Seoul. Explore with us Korea's culture from all aspects and stay up to date with K-entertainment, K-trends, K-festivals, K-everything. And we're going to start off the new week with our co-host Walter Lee in the studio. Hello, Walter.
Hello, Soa, and hello to everyone at home. I'm Walter Lee here to give you your daily dose of K-Enter news.
And we're also joined by Park Hyo-bin, Arirang's news features reporter. Hello, Hyo-bin.
Hello, Hyo-bin.
Hi, Soa. Hi, Walter. And hello, everyone. My name is Park Hyo-bin, and I'm a news features reporter here at Arirang News. Thank you so much for having me today.
Great to have you here. Now, from timeless classics to bold experiments, one festival seems to be taking the tone in summer season right now. And Hyo-bin, I heard you were at that festival. It's a music festival.
That's right, Soa. So I went to the 8th Hikkenung Music Festival, where I had a chance to interview a very special guest, a world-famous novelist who took his latest novel to the stage in collaboration with music. Let's take a look.
When story meets music, the stage itself becomes a novel. The 8th Hikkenung Music Festival is taking place across South Korea until September 5th. The festival's name, Hikkenung, Latin for Here and Now, reflects its spirit as a city summer festival that brings together classical music and other art forms. Led by Sejong soloists, an ensemble with over 700 performances in 120 cities worldwide, the festival pushes the boundaries of classical music with bold experiments and collaborations. This year's theme, Companion Pieces, pairs works from different eras and styles to create something new. Highlights include world-class violinists Gil Sham and Adele Anthony, renowned guitarist Gigi's debut recital, and a performance by rising cellist Yeo Yoon-soo. But the program drawing the most attention features best-selling French author Bernard Werber. He takes the stage himself, narrating The Time of Chimeras, a world premiere based on his latest novel, performed together with Sejong soloists. The story imagines a dystopian future after a Third World War, where hybrid beings, part human, part animal, rise to dominate the Earth. Werber, who calls South Korea his second home, shared his thoughts on the collaboration.
When literature and classical music come together, we can reach a wider audience than books alone. Music can move people more deeply than words, because it is a universal language. My first rehearsal with Sejong soloists was breathtaking. Composer Kim Taek-soo's music held such complexity and power.
Often called South Korea's most beloved foreign author, he also spoke of his special affection for the country.
South Korea is very precious to me. It's a nation of great resilience and energy. What amazes me most is the country's pursuit of perfection, not only in technology, but also in the arts.
When imagination on the page turns into sound on stage, the Hikkenung Music Festival once again captivates audiences with a stage beyond boundaries here and now.
Wow, blending music with literature. I can imagine that there is going to be a huge synergy with that. And also, Hyo-bin, music really makes you feel immersed into stories, right? Or actually, Walter, I was going to ask for your opinion on that.
Well, you're right, exactly. So, and Hyo-bin, you actually got to sit down with this French novelist, Bernard Werber. How was that?
I mean, it was such a great experience to hear from him directly, and he was very passionate about working with Sejong soloists as well. So he said that he hopes this project can inspire others to try combining literature and music. And as a science fiction writer, he said his role is to imagine new paths for the future and that people, and especially the next generation, can live a happier life. And that's the message behind his newly released book and his musical piece as well.
That sounds extremely fascinating, but was there anything else about this festival that may have caught your attention or anything special about this festival?
Yes, of course. There's actually quite a lot more going on throughout the festival. So beyond that collaboration, on September 5th, there's which is next Friday, T.S. Eliot's poem will be read together with Beethoven's music. And next Wednesday, there's also a concert designed for babies and preschool children called Songs My Mother Taught Me. And next Monday, a concert called NFT Salon shows how classical music meets blockchain technology in creative ways.
That's quite a lineup for young and old. Sounds very exciting. And Hubin, you said the festival runs until?
Yes, it runs until September 5th, which is next Friday. And there are concerts not only here in Seoul, but also in cities like Busan, Sejong, and Daegu. So it is a great chance for people all over the country to enjoy the festival.
Thank you very much for that information and that coverage, Hubin.
Thank you, Hubin.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
And now time for our K-Enter News with Walter Lee. So Walter, what has been happening over the weekend regarding K-Enter issues and stories?
A lot has been happening over the weekend, Soa, and starting off with Golden from Netflix Kpop Demon Hunters, which has held the top spot on the UK official singles chart, top 100, for a second week in a row. Now, according to the latest chart published on last Friday, Golden, sung by the movie's girl group Huntrix, retained its #1 position for the second straight week. Now, this is marking its third week overall at the top. Now, also, tracks by the rival group in the movie, Saja Boys, also charted strongly in the UK. Soda Pop rose to #3, while Your Idol came in at #6. And Take Down, the contribution from Twice members Jonghyun, Jihyo, and also Chaeyeon, entered the chart at #31. So in total, 4 songs from the soundtrack are on the UK singles chart.
Wow, so we should actually have a Kdaehan concert one day.
I think so.
But speaking of which, I mean, it's not just about the music, but we must not forget that the movie itself is also still attracting lots of viewers.
Yes, indeed it is. So one thing is a shame is that the Kpop Demon Hunters, or let's call them KDH from now on, never really got shown on the big screens, but that actually changed recently because KDH soared to the top of the North American box office. This is according to Variety on Sunday local time. Now, the release was estimated to have earned between 18 to 20 million US dollars. That's approximately around 28 billion Korean won across North American theaters during the August to 23 to 24th weekend. Now, KDH became such a phenomenon that Netflix organized what they call a 2-day special sing-along. Now, screening, like they called it a screening event in North American theaters. Now, it's almost like a real concert happening in front of you, and I'm glad that happened.
And I'm glad that that's going to happen in Korea as well at the Busan International Film Festival next month.
Must go to that.
Please do so and tell us about it. But
Yes.
Walter, what's the last story we're going to talk about?
Yes, so Tomorrow by Together, or TXT, lit up Seoul on Friday and Saturday with their Tomorrow by Together World Tour act Tomorrow, delivering an electrifying set of nearly 30 songs. This tour is the group's 4th world tour, and Seoul drew an impressive 33,000 fans over the 2 days. Now, even deep into the concert, TXT never lost momentum, performing with unwavering precision and stamina. Now, as the show came to a close, TXT reassured fans of their commitment to continuing growing and giving back for all the love they've received. Now, the members also underscored their unity, especially after all 5 recently renewed their contracts with Big Hit Music, so more to come for TXT fans.
Very excited. Well, thank you very much, Walter, for that, and stick around.
Will do.
And now let's move on to our AI anchor, Adi, for more on the culture front. Adi?
Hello and welcome to your AI guide to the latest cultural updates from Korea. Here's our top story. Gyeongbokgung Palace will offer nighttime tours from September 3rd to 28th. Visitors can explore the famous Gwanghwamun, Hungnaemun, and Geunjeongjeon, as well as Gyeonghaeru, the site of grand royal banquets, and Gyotaejeon, the Queen's residence. Traditional performances, including royal court music, will also be featured. A highlight is the Royal Stroll, held Fridays through Sundays at 7 p.m., which recreates the evening walks of the king, queen, and crown prince during the Joseon dynasty. Tickets go on sale via Interpark from 10 a.m. this Wednesday, but foreign visitors can also purchase tickets on site at Gwanghwamun. Admission is free for those wearing hanbok. So how about an autumn evening stroll steeped in Korean tradition? The King Sejong Institute Foundation is sending Korean language teacher trainees and cultural interns to about 50 Sejong branches across more than 30 countries. Selected through university recommendations and screening, over 90 undergraduate and graduate students will spend up to 3 months overseas, teaching the Korean language and culture to global learners. The Sejong Institute said the program will provide trainees with a valuable experience to build their expertise, while offering overseas K-culture enthusiasts a unique chance to learn the Korean language and culture in fresh ways. An exhibition of works by the late Kim Chang-yeol, a master of Korean abstract art widely known as the water drop painter, is now on display. The first large-scale retrospective of Kim has opened at the National Museum of Modern and Contemporary Art in Seoul. It brings together over 120 works, from his early pieces to creations produced during his time in New York and Paris, including 31 previously unseen works. Visitors can view Kim's signature water drop series alongside his representative works, organized into 4 sections: scar, phenomenon, water drops, and recurrence. The exhibition traces the origins of the water drop motif that defined his career, and reveals how it evolved over time. That's all from me. Stay tuned to the Culture Wave.
The presidents of South Korea and the U.S. are getting together for our bilateral summit in Washington this Monday local time. Alongside all the trade and security issues being discussed, cultural cooperation may also come up on the back of the growing popularity of the K-wave in the U.S. In fact, the interest in Korean culture, be it in K-pop, K-food, or K-beauty, could recently be felt at a flagship K-pop festival in Los Angeles, KCON LA. We now connect to an expert who was at this very event. It's Grace Kao, IBM Professor of Sociology at Yale University. Hello, Professor Kao.
Hello, Professor.
Hi, Shoa and Walter. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Now, Professor Kao, more than 125,000 people gathered for KCON LA 2025 earlier this month. So you were there yourself, and you also wrote an article on your experience. Which performances did you watch over the 3-day event, and what was the most memorable part?
So there were actually 37 acts there and many, many different stages. One thing that was complicated about KCON was, of course, there were the evening M countdown stages, which included everyone. But during the day, there were artist stages, X stage, busking stages, and so forth. I actually saw all of the evening concerts, so I saw all 37 acts, which was really, really a lot of fun. In terms of highlights, I think for me, the dream stage at the end of each show where amateur dancers who had competed earlier could come on stage. So the first night it was with NCT 127, second night it was with Monsta X, and third night it was with, now I'm blanking, of course. The third night was of course with another group, and they danced together, and that was really fun. I think also Jackson Wang of GOT7 really got a lot of attention. His show was spectacular. He said a lot of important things about how K-pop elevates Korea, Asia, and Asian Americans. So that really resonated with me. But a lot of people I spoke with said that that was one of the highlights of the evening for sure.
Professor Koh, it's probably very difficult to, keep track of all the 37 acts. If I'm correct, maybe on the third day it was Hoshi Uzi.
Yes, thank you. I'm 17, that's correct.
Right.
Sorry.
Okay, no worries. It must have been really fun to be at all of these performances, but I can imagine that it's also pretty exhausting, isn't it, to be there outdoors for 3 days for all the performances? Or would you say it's just like fun, 100% fun.
It was a lot of fun. So the evening performance was inside, but the daytime, there were things that were mostly inside, a few things that were outside. So honestly, it was hard to keep track of everything and to run around from place to place. I was also trying to meet with groups, so I got to talk to P1 Harmony, Hit G's, 82 Major, and Kiko. So that was fun too, but that also made my schedule a little bit more insane.
All right, and Professor Carl, Los Angeles has even designated August 1st as KCON Day. So how did this come about, and how significant is that?
So, we have to remember that the U.S. is about 7% Asian American. California is about 16% Asian American, and L.A., of course, has, depending on the area, the city itself is 10%, but there are suburbs that are over 50% Asian American. So I think Asians are prominent in that area, and I believe it was Council Member John Lee, who is himself Korean American, along with 3 of his colleagues, that introduced that day as KCON Day.
Interesting.
So we know it's no surprise that K-pop is big in the US at the moment, but when did K-pop really take off in the US? When do you remember, and how popular is it right now from your point of view? And more K-pop concerts are being held during, they're increasing in the US. And not only that, you're seeing a lot of K-pop artists, a lot of K-pop groups also joining in with American festivals as well. Why do you think the demand is there?
So, I think we always have to go back to Psy's Gangnam Style in 2012 as sort of at least the beginning, even though, of course, the Wonder Girls had the very first US Billboard Hot 100 song. But, he was sort of promoted, not quite, he's not a typical idol, of course. So in a way, the dance and the song was somewhat silly to American audiences, a little bit like the Macarena a few years prior to that. So I think we have to credit BTS, of course. They debuted on US television on the American Music Awards with DNA. I first saw them on Saturday Night Live in April 2019. And I have to remind people that the crowd cheers at the American Music Awards was sort of like people watching Ed Sullivan in 1964 and seeing the Beatles for the first time. The way you understood a group was popular was by the cheers in the audience. So, that was really, really significant. There's huge demand for the top stars, of course. If you look at, again, it's hard not to mention BTS all the time, but, J-Hope and Jin's concerts sold exceptionally well. I think when BTS comes back as a group, the demand will be really, really high. So I think they're popular for festivals because it's hard to watch a K-pop group and not like them. So, even if you don't like the music, you're not familiar with the music, just watching people dance and sing in such a really professional way is a lot of fun for any concert and festival goer.
I really do think it's a great comparison that you made there between the Ed Sullivan Show and the Beatles, and also the Saturday Night Live and also BTS as well. Now, let's shift gears from stage to screen and go from K-pop to K-dramas and K-movies. And now we're seeing the rise of popularity between, K-actors and K-actors holding, let's say, what we call fan meetings in the US. So how well known are Korean productions, and which actors have become, let's say, the biggest actors or have the biggest fandoms in the US?
Yeah, so I actually think that actors themselves, Korean actors, have a ways to go in terms of name recognition. I think people recognize the faces of folks that have been in Squid Game in particular. But I do want to remind people that it's not as if every American has watched, a K-drama, right? Mm-hmm. So, but I would say most people recognize Lee Jong-jae, of course. People might know IU and so forth, or Park Bo-gum. But I think, it's really a small handful of actors that have the same name recognition as the K-pop artists that we can think of.
Mm-hmm. Professor Kao, when it comes to cultural exchange between Korea and the U.S., in the past, this took the form in that Koreans were kind of embracing the pop culture from the U.S. But these days, we are more and more seeing how people in the U.S. are rapidly accepting Korean culture. So where is that most apparent, would you say?
I mean, I think it's definitely K-pop, of course. You know, the fact that, you know, Kpop Demon Hunters is all over now, but just, you know, all over the charts. But, you know, BTS has had a bunch of #1 songs. I think everyone can name BTS and Blackpink as groups, but in terms of other kinds of things, it's not quite there yet. Many people have watched K-dramas, but not everyone. I think people are also familiar with K-beauty products. Food is becoming more common. I always tell people that at our local Costco in Connecticut, you see more and more Korean products, you know, Bibigo products. There's more than one kind of kimchi, ramyeon, all the stuff that you didn't see, you know, just a few years ago. And yeah, so that's where, you know, I see it rising in lots of places. And of course, people also might consume webtoon. But it's not, I mean, if we pointed to one single thing, I think it's still K-pop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what's quite interesting, just to quickly go back to what I was talking about with the K actors as well, you're right in saying that a lot of Korean actors probably don't have the fame as, let's say, the K-pop artists, but there is still growing interest in the Korean American side of it. You know, you've got Daniel Day Kim, you've got Steven Yeun, you've also got, you know, comedians like Bobby Lee. The Korean Americans are still representing, and that's also great for the Korean market as well, because I think that is also showing what the overseas Koreans are doing within their own country, like America, for instance. But I want to take it now back to KCON. Small and medium-sized companies, and you did mention it before, related to beauty, lifestyle, food, fashion, participated in the K Collection with KCON events, right? So how much attention are these Korean cultural items receiving in addition to K-pop and K-dramas?
So when you look at the festival grounds, most of it was sort of these products. But I have to say that I think the majority of people were there for the music. I did talk to some attendees that loved the K-beauty part. They were walking around looking for free samples. Olive Young had a really big display, and there were big lines there too as well. So certainly people were looking for some products, but you know, I think the attention for KCON, if you just looked at who was lining up for which things, it was still really about the music.
Okay, looks like for now, still K-pop is the biggest category when it comes to the Korean wave in the U.S. So let's wrap up with K-pop then. K-pop is not only limited now to Koreans singing in Korean, and we can also see that in Kpop Demon Hunters, for instance. So from the perspective of a sociologist and someone who loves K-pop, Professor Kao, what is your outlook on the future of K-pop and its influence?
So I think it's really bright. You know, Kpop Demon Hunters sort of came out of nowhere. A lot of us are surprised by how well it's doing, but very happy about it. I actually had the opportunity to interview Andrew Trey, who is the singer behind the lead Saja boy, Jinu. And, you know, he's surprised as well, but it's just wonderful to see. And I think what is so interesting is that at the core, Kpop Demon Hunters actually does not give up its Koreanness. It's very much a Korean story. The characters are Korean. It's obviously in Seoul. The audiences are Korean. And I think that's a word of, you know, that's some kind of sign for K-pop entertainment companies who are, some of them are trying so hard to localize K-pop and make them seem more Western, and Americanize them and have all English songs and so forth. But there is a market and an appetite for products and things that really seem Korean. I think that's what's going to, you know, push the Hallyu forward, is that people still see representations of Korea, which elevates, you know, Koreans, Korean Americans, Asian Americans. And I really agree with what Jackson Wang said at KCON, that we hope this continues to flourish. And, you know, K products, Hallyu is just so important to all of us.
All right. Thank you very much for your insights today, Professor Kao, and have a great start to the new week.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
And thank you, Walter. As always, we're going to see you back here tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you for spending the past half an hour with us on the Culture Wave. Please join us again tomorrow on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Korea time and maybe one day here in Korea.